Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I've had these for years. Um, and I kind of looked through them recently. Famous Monsters magazine, right? The famous Monster Kid magazine. I think it came out in the late 50s. Has been around. Obviously, it's a brand. I think the last version of this was like $30 magazines, kind of like the $20 Fangorias. I think published by the same company. Could be wrong. Um, I don't think that exists anymore. Okay, uh, there's only so much boomer kid money and even Gen X money you can draw out of people where they're gonna pay 30 fucking dollars for a magazine. But um, the old famous monsters, I don't. I mean, they were. It was kind of a legend. They had brought it back. I remember the 90s for a while, like when the Misfits had come back in like the late 90s with the Michael Graves version. And Famous Monsters was writing a lot of like kind of like this nostalgia thing for like the Monster Kid era. Um, this version of Famous Monsters, or the one that came out in the aughts, right here, it's 2013, right? Literally almost a decade ago. It's almost like another planet. This, from what I've the issues of this I have that I've looked through, this was probably the best. I mean, if you want to talk about best quality era of Famous Monsters, was this era right here. So there's all kinds of lawsuits and owner things. Of course, Forey Ackerman, um, almost fetishized to the point of ridiculousness. And I haven't heard good things about him, let's say, and I really could care less about him. Um, but this was the most popular monster magazine that had come out. So anyway, a little getting past the little intro. This one here, I mean, this was like a double whammy right here. They had the Kaiju issue, right? And then they had the Luchador Santo, right? Issue right here. So you want to talk about the countries that made? I mean, America made a lot of films, horror films, crazy films, but I'll keep saying, Japan, China, which is to say Hong Kong, Italy, and Mexico. So you got the Asian, you got the Latin, right? Of course, the British were a whole other thing, but in terms of the craziness movies, because the British movie, as crazy as the '70s Hammers films were, they still had a proper sort of, stiff upper lip sort of, uh, there's some kind of form of dignity involved. The Japanese, the Hong Kong, and the Mexican, the Italian films were like, and the Spanish films, dignity. We're gonna try to show you some of this crazy stuff, uh, and I sort of have a soft spot in my heart for that. So anyway, we'll go over the Kaiju one first. Just going through it, not even like really in depth, right? Anguirus, right? These old costumes they made, man. It was impressive how big they were. You needed these really strong but not large guys to work these costumes. Of course, Nakajima, I mentioned I had met him in Jersey. And it was very interesting. It was really cool meeting that guy. Rest in peace. So anyway, we'll go through here. Some on Frank Frazetta. Kind of focus on the Kaiju here. One of those dudes, an artist who was like, he was a muscular dude, right? He's a guy. He's a real dude, a real guy. So, you think East Stroudsburg? They have that museum. So, it's always funny when you have artistic guys that aren't nerds, but actually like real dudes. What is a real dude? Um, yeah, so Shiro Honda, right? Yeah, wow. This is 2013, so it's been 30 years since he passed away. Right? Shiro Honda, of course, this guy pretty much, man, this guy directed pretty much all the major Toho films, the Kaiju films, like the God Monster films. Um, and yeah, so it's of course the Godzilla, right? The A bomb thing. I keep mentioning, the. And it's interesting too, real quick. in terms of the wartime experience, a lot of these guys, man, when you think of the Japanese army, right, and you think of the Pacific War, you think of all the island battles, right, you think of the atomic bomb, but a lot of these Toho guys, and the majority of the Japanese military, which you may or may not know, the bulk of the Japanese forces were tied down in China. They could never take China. Even if they won battles and dominated the Chinese, whether they were communists or nationalists, at the end of the day, they really couldn't take China, and the majority of the forces were there to try to keep a handle on things. So it was interesting. Sent to China. So yeah, he was a POW too, like so many guys, like Masaki Kobayashi, director in a very different films than him. Anyway, I'm just bringing up useless history. As time goes on, the revisions for the European War are given, but the revisions for the Pacific War, for me, really shows you how this worm has turned in just 10 years for myself. Anyway, like Frankenstein conquers the world. Yeah, cool. Yeah, like it is Nakajima, man. He was playing Baragon, fighting. I've mentioned how great that movie is. And I like, look at this. That's a cool photo, right? Obviously, this is the old school, the way they used to. Before Photoshop, you had this match shots. Okay? And I hear they talk about the vinyl toys, right? These were very popular. I mean, some of these things are ridiculous. They have them in different colors. Some of these things are ridiculous. I will say, like, the comic store by me, they have a lot of, and I've been tempted, and you look, and it's like, okay, decadent, late stage civilization, man. Are you gonna stop buying toys like when you were a kid? No, I'm not, but I'm very tempted by all the toys that I see in these sections. There's all kinds of companies making like these retro sort of things. The problem is though is that you'd have to buy two. You don't want to take it out of the box, right? For the price. I don't know. It's something weird about that. You want a sign of decadence where you don't even want to play with the toy or have the toy out of the box because. And not even speculation. This stuff ain't gonna be worth nothing, especially when the dollar gets nuked in a couple of years. But you don't want to take it out of the box. You want to keep it frozen, like a good, nostalgia ice, boy. Now, of course, one of the last two Godzilla films of that era, the Showa era, right? His enemy was Mechagodzilla. Now, Mechagodzilla was he was such a good, probably expensive prop that you wanted to get as many films out of him as you could. But man, if you remember, like, how cool it was, King Caesar, yeah. But, like, remember how Godzilla got, this thing, he fucked Godzilla up bad, dude. I thought in this one with King Caesar, I thought Godzilla was going to die, man, if you remember that battle. Godzilla was bleeding everywhere. So, I'm just going through, obviously. Yeah, man. They're just covering, the one with King Caesar. Right? Godzilla versus the Cosmic Monster was what I remember it as. It was also known as the Bionic Monster. Right? So let's go here. Oh, okay. This one gets a lot of hate, right? Love it or hate it, Jet Jaguar rocks. Jet Jaguar. Dude, I loved Godzilla vs. Megalon, right? Like, they even rip off, when it was shown on TV, they rip off the King Kong, the not Coppola, excuse me. What the hell is his name? The other Italian guy, the producer, De Laurentiis, jeez, for this thing. And I know there was a whole Saturday Night Live thing with Jim Belushi, John, jeez, man, with the years going by, John Belushi, come on, man. One of his skits was to be Toshiro Mifune, Anyway, Jet Jaguar. Dude, Godzilla vs. Megalon was awesome, man. As a kid, I always loved it. Mystery Science Theater kind of made fun of it, and at the time, I was like, yeah, it was kind of bad. But looking back now, man, you wish you had films like this, man. You wish you had cool things like Megalon, Anyway, and Jet Jaguar, man, that was hot, man. Look at that. And Gigon, friggin' almost underrated kaiju enemy of Godzilla was Gigan. Look how badass Gigon was. But you got the duo here, but it ain't happening. So that's what happens when you get older. Right? I keep telling you how the process was. Right? You watch these films as a kid and you're like enthralled. Then you get older in the 90s, you're a kid, you watch Mystery Science Theater and you're like, oh, these movies were stupid. Then you become my age and you realize that these movies were great and these assholes helped to set up the culture negation you have now, your hipsterism, which I have nothing but contempt for, as you can tell by all my damn videos. Okay, so anyway, rounding it out, Iron King. This was I almost bought this years ago, but the more I read about it, it's cool as hell. Where the actual hero is this guy. This guy is actually able to fight monsters with his skills, and the guy who turns into this is like the sidekick. Thought that was interesting. And then Red Baron. This is like, look at this. Look how cool, like all these Japanese live action shows. You actually have a robot. There's a bunch of these shows where it's like a robot. It's fighting giant monsters. I can never get enough of that. The miniature work. Even if it looks fake, I don't care, dude. I don't care. Look how cool it is. You got Japanese cowboys. Come on, man. The Japanese, man. And what you get to animate Mobile Suit Gundam. I already did a video on that, right? The neuroses are even bigger. I always told you the whole idea. I wasn't a huge fan of these later ones, but just Gundam in general. Gundam's a war story. That's all it was. Right? So people fight each other, consequences, and things not ending well. Just like the world you live in. Right? And I haven't gone over Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam yet. This is even more grim than the original Gundam, if you can imagine that. Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, the guy that did a lot of the character designs, also did the Venus War. Venus Wars was awesome. Venus Wars reminds me more and more of what stuff happening now. Anyway, these videos take too long, but I don't care. Look, the Shogun Warriors. I'm as a kid. These were the shit. Bro, you could shoot the fists out. Remember, you pressed the red button, there was a spring, and it would shoot out the fists. And then they got rid of that because I guess some punk-ass kid got hit in the eye or something. Oh, you crying? Come on, man. These were awesome. And as a kid, I remember, I think my mom got me this. I don't know how, but she got me Daimos. This was the coolest thing, man. Look at these. When you're a kid and you see these things, you know there's something different about this. You know that it's like from another world. Well, it was from another world. It was from Japan, which was like an exotic place when you think about it. Really cool. And this is something that was done. Wolfman versus Godzilla. It was like a short film. And I think that's the Godzilla suit from the best Godzilla suit. The one from, the 1962 version. The best Godzilla suit, in my opinion, other than the first one, was the one that was in King Kong. And of course, in this one, he's fighting the Wolfman. Look at that. This gotta be on friggin'. This has to be on somewhere on YouTube or BitChute. And look at Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider was cool. This is already like V3, so they're talking about like later Kamen Riders. Listen, mate. I could watch all these live action shows watching them now, even more so now in this day and age. They're just like the surrealism, okay? And these are shows for kids. They study their asses off and they go home. They want to watch crazy dudes in costumes beating the crap out of each other. Much more sane, eh? And what is that? Something with Lon Chaney. Anyway, the focus here though was on the Kaiju. Oh look, Totoro the bull. Hey, loyalty. Loyalty goes both ways. That's the wrong bull. I'm sorry. Anyway, leading to the next issue. Viva la lucha, right? Lucha libre, right? The crazy Mexican cinema. But like I said, it covered the Kaiju, the best era of famous monsters. Literally just a decade ago. What else? You didn't know what else you were gonna lose in the decade to come, did you?